Unplugged with Nicki Marie. We're getting right into it. Matt Chavlovich. I've never called you Matt Chavlovich.
No.
You're Matt.
Took you 25 years to figure it out.
I want to say this first. You walked in the room, and I haven't seen you in 24 years in person. So, back history, UConn Huskies, best year of my entire life, possibly, right? Outside of children. You always have to say that. I was a sophomore at UConn playing field hockey. You were a freshman.
Yep.
At UConn playing soccer, and the field hockey and the soccer team were like BFFs.
We were tight.
So I'm going to bring out pictures for this. But we were tight. Then you and I went our ways and ended up talking 2017, 2018. What are you doing now? You're in marketing.
Yeah, I reached out. I was complimenting you. You were in your career. You were doing some big things. I said, look, I love what you're up to. I love what you got going on. And if there's any way I can support you, let's have a conversation.
You did say that. And I said, well, I always want support. And we ended up landing into a partnership where you were my executive coach. Is that what I call you?
Yeah.
Life coach, therapist,
It's been
BFF.
6-7 years, and it's been a ride.
It has been a ride. So the reason Matt's here is when I was doing this podcast, I was like, all right, who are all the people who are part of how I ended up on social, right? Like the layers, peel back. You were part of losing my job, going into COVID.
I've been watching you recreate and step into every chapter since 2017.
Yes. Tell us what you do.
Magical. I work with women that are stuck or bored. I help get them unstuck. I help light them up. I basically help them figure out exactly what they're meant to be doing, exactly what they're built for, why they're stuck, and I help them recreate their lives.
And you did that with me.
Look at that.
But now we're putting you in a hotter seat, and you're used to being in the place where these powerful women are vulnerable with you. And today's topic isn't about coaching.
It's not about any of that, right?
It's about you went through a divorce shortly after I did.
I did, yeah. I went through a divorce in 2020, and that was a ride for sure. And I'm constantly reaching out to you because I know that a lot of your audience is single and divorced women saying, look, there's men out there too. So as you're referencing the single moms, don't be afraid to say single dads or single parents because that's a real thing.
I always talk online about single mom, motherhood, invisible labor. Us moms are all pissed off, right? Like I say that in a big, broad statement. Us moms are overwhelmed. We're flailing. So my audience is mostly moms, some dads. And I think it's only right for me to give a man a voice in this. And we're going to rapid fire some tough questions back and forth. So this is not an interview. This is a chat.
Yeah, let's do it.
And we're going to challenge each other on a hot topic today.
I love it.
All right. So when is it time for someone to leave a marriage?
When did you leave? I'd like to know this answer too.
I didn't know the answer. And I talked to my ex today and I said, how far can I go with some of this? Because listen, I still want, as much as I don't have to get his approval, I still want to feel like I'm respecting privacy for our family, right? So I said, how far do I go? Like when do you think we knew it was the end? And we talked about this today on the phone. And he said, if I could think back to where it really came to a close was we never put each other we never prioritized each other. As our careers grew, we didn't prioritize each other. When we got pregnant, we didn't prioritize each other. When we had our children, we were waiting for the moment where all of a sudden the two of us as two humans who chose to be together, we were waiting for the moment where we all of a sudden prioritize each other. So what we know now, we can't undo and go back. All we could do is go forward. So I said, isn't it amazing that we could look at this and think now, how do we grow as two people, as co-parents?
I agree. See, and that, I think you hit it right there, growth with two parents. I know for my journey, that's where we went our separate ways. We wanted to grow at different paces and in different ways. And to your point, we didn't prioritize each other. And I love what you said, because somebody asked me recently, how do I define love? And there's a lot of ways, but one way is you always come at it where we will win. It's not about me winning or you winning. It's about us winning. And I think a lot of us that have uncoupled, we got into a place where it wasn't about us winning. It was about the kids winning or
score. Keeping score.
Winning, correct. And so, and unfortunately, that does build up, and sometimes it just becomes too far to even undo.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just like, you can't get another person to see things the way you see them.
No.
Here's what I see. Here's what I'm trying to work on. Here's what you're doing that I can't shake. Well, but you're doing this and you're doing that. And all of a sudden you're like this.
Yeah. And everything's either bringing us closer, connection, or separating us, right? And momentum and the kids and everything, it just grows and grows. Let me ask this. When you went your separate ways, was there a piece of relief?
There was a piece of relief when I knew with full clarity what the decision was. That was a relief, because I was praying for it. I got to a point where I was like, this isn't me. This isn't the way I want to show up feeling for my kids. This isn't the resentful. I don't want to feel this way about my marriage. I don't want to be the woman complaining in a group of hens, clucking about how pissed off we are at home. That ain't my vibe. It wasn't Nicki. I was losing Nicki. And that was enough for me to say, fucking stop it.
There it is. Yeah.
You can't lose yourself. Who else you got?
No.
Oh my God.
And I think I know, look, I've seen you on your journey. I think there was a point where I give you a lot of credit, and it wasn't always easy. And you put one foot in front of the other, and you said, I'm just going to keep on going.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know my journey where I found peace was I had to come from a place of gratitude. I had to find gratitude for her and what we had. That gave me peace with being complete. And when I could look at her and say, thank you, not just for giving me 2 beautiful children, but thank you for the time we had, and I'm complete with that. I had a lot of peace with that. There was a lot of resentment that left.
Resentment's a big one. I don't know if you ever fully lose resentment, but you feel it trickle away a little.
You do. It loses its grip on you, and it only gets energy and really power over us if we really focus on it. But yeah, I don't know that it ever leaves.
So I want to let you speak on behalf of the single dads, because you and I talked on the phone before this, and you're like, single moms get all the. We do. We get all the love and attention and the.
You get the conversation.
We get the conversation.
Yeah, and a lot of, you just get the conversation. You get the limelight, and a lot of times that's justified.
Yes.
But let's not forget about the single dads.
Yes.
I mean, regardless, we're not talking about custody here. There's a lot of dads that have 50% custody, like myself. But it was interesting, even in that process, I had to fight tooth and nail for that. Tooth and nail. But we're all doing it. I think we all have had times. I mean, even me last night, I just got back from a retreat, and I'm doing laundry last night, making dinner for the kids, saying, it's not supposed to be like this. I mean, I have those feelings. It's not supposed to be like this. It's supposed to be a partnership. But in the absence of the right partnership, this is where we're at. And that's okay.
So what is it like? Explain, if you will, single fatherhood, whatever vision comes into your head, share it.
You know what? There's the vision comes into my head was is picking the kids up from school, being one of 2 men picking the kids up with all the rest females. And you know what? There's a lot of pride. There's a lot of pride that, one, I create a lifestyle and a career that I'm able to pick my kids up, that I did uncouple from something in a respectful way that wasn't working to both set me free but also set her free, and also give the kids an opportunity to see what a healthy relationship is. So it's all the things. It's all the things that you speak about to single moms. It's overwhelming. It's sad. It's exciting. It's pride. But at the end of the day, I think that it, just like I think a lot of moms would say, this is what being a mom is. It's about caring for kids. I think it's the same for dads. You know, I was cuddling with my daughter as we were going to bed last night. This is what being a dad's about. I said, I'm so happy I'm your dad.
That's cute.
And so,
I'm glad you're saying this, because I do have a lot of men in my DMs who are like, don't forget, you're speaking to the dads too. Like, we really value your content. And whenever I see those messages, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know you were here, because I'm so thinking that all I can speak on behalf of is my own experience. So I don't want to speak on behalf of a dad who maybe had a completely different experience than I did as a mom, right?
yeah.
So all I'm doing is speaking to myself, who's a mom, sharing my experiences. But it is wild how there's some dads who have as many emotions about this as a woman.
Completely. I mean, single parenting is a beast, especially in today's day and age. And we're built differently. And I think a lot of dads actually get a lot of criticism from the women, because we just go about it differently. You know, whether it's tough love, whether it's soft love, we just handle it differently. And at the end of the day, we've got our ways. You have yours, and we both love our children all the same, and we're doing the best we can. But it's no easier or harder for either of us. So I think your content is really for single parents, and to your point, the language just comes out because you're a woman. But I know it serves all of them.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. It's like what people don't see on the outside is like the arguments about gear. Your kids are playing sports. Where's the cleats? Where are the cleats? Where are the shin guards? Like, there's so many things and dynamics that you argue about, not because you want to be arguing, but because it's really hard to keep up with the two houses. And it's also back to what we said, which caused some of the divorces. You're keeping score.
You're keeping score, and you're not giving each other permission to make mistakes at the hardest job there is. And so a lot of times we'll look with resentment or bad energy towards the other parent, and the other parent's just even scared. Like, what if the kid gets hurt on my watch? What if something happens? I mean, and we don't actually become realistic with the expectations or the reality of what it's like to be a parent. And the kids suffer, you know, and that's a shame. So I think that all of us just need to do our own work to realize that the partner, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. You guys went your separate ways because you weren't a good fit anymore. Be grateful for what you did have, and let's just go on creating a life that we love. I mean, what's it been like for you to figure out how to co-parent?
Stumped. I'm not usually short on words. What's it been like for me to co-parent?
Co-parent.
A lot of letting go of ego, a lot of letting go of pride. And the most truthful answer I could give is putting myself in my kids' shoes. And I was a product of divorce. So I remember my mom not thinking that I'd hear a conversation she had in the kitchen with my grandmother, or that my dad wouldn't notice something, right? Your parents don't think that you understand everything that's going on at all times, and you do. You don't miss a thing.
But let me ask, would you change it if you could have had your parents stay together and the relationship didn't get any better?
Ew.
Would you choose it?
No, never.
So you thank them. You thank them, and thank you for doing me a favor of not having to witness.
Absolutely.
This.
No chance that I wouldn't be who I am today.
Yeah.
And I'm not advocating for divorce, because the first thing I would say, if people that I knew and loved had kids, and I see are all around me, I see it all the time. I'm not happy in my marriage. So-and-so is this and so-and-so is that. And it's really hard. And I want to be like, do you really want to talk? Do you want me to just listen? Do you really want me to tell you? So I'm not an advocate for divorce. I want people to work it out.
I'd love to know that one. How do you handle that one? You get the girls together. They start talking negatively about their partners. How is that handled? I have a very strong opinion on this one.
I know how hard it is. But also, I encourage people to never go down the wrong path, right? Because there's so many times people are unhappy and they go down the wrong path.
They have needs that aren't met, and they figure out ways to get them met separately, which is not going to add any value.
Yeah.
My strong opinion is I want to be there for you, but if you haven't shared this with your partner yet, you shouldn't be sharing it with me. If you want me to help you communicate it, we can talk, but they should know before I do. And a lot of times that's not the case.
Yeah.
And I've had that conversation with a lot of men. Go talk to her about it.
Yeah.
If she's not receptive, come back. Let's work on that.
Right. There's a woman that sent me a message today, and I shared this with you on the phone. And she is a single mom of a 4-year-old and feels like doesn't know what she's doing. And she's having a hard time regrouping from a high conflict divorce with, sounds like a horrible ex, right? She wants to know that she's doing a good job. And basically all she wanted to tell me was that my content helps her. So I had my audience do this thing where I said, give her a pep talk. And they gave her a pep talk. And I have like 943 responses to this woman giving her a pep talk. And I screenshotted a bunch of them and sent them to her. And she and I were crying back and forth today. And I said, you're my inspiration for this podcast today. So picture you're talking to this person who doesn't know how they're going to do this single parent thing. What's the first thing you say to that person?
The first thing I would say is exactly what she asked for, which is, am I going to be okay? That's the first thing that I would want to make sure they knew. You're going to be okay. You're not the first that's been through this. You're going to be okay. You might not see light right now, but keep putting one foot in front of the other. You're going to get through this. And I love that your audience gave her that. Mm-hmm. And I just hope that she can receive that. She's got 900 plus people telling her, you've got this. You're doing good. She asked to know that she was doing good. Prayer answered.
Yeah.
So for her, I hope she can receive it. I hope she then can use that as fuel and say, I got this.
And what are things, like this is what I want to talk about though. That is great. There's so many inspirational people online that are like, you got this. Have a great day. Go do the thing. So many motivational speeches. But what are the tools that she should be focusing on to know that she's doing the right shit for her daughter?
Well, first of all, she got to change the story. So let's look at the real facts. She left something that was not non-toxic. Okay, the courage that takes, the willpower that takes. Let's acknowledge that. Let's really lean into that. I mean, girl, you're a rock star.
Yeah.
How many people are in unhappy situations that would never have the courage to do that? So hats off to you. You just did the best thing that you could do for your children and for you. So hats off to you. And it's going to be hard, but there's no way it's going to be harder than than enduring what you just were in. So let's really get our calibration right. It's going to be hard. It's going to be work. But so was staying in that toxic marriage. So you chose the healthy one for you, and I think you said her daughter. And
yes.
So hats off to her.
Yes.
I mean, she's an inspiration right there. And it doesn't always have to. It's not always going to be smiles and roses. Hey, I'm doing great. I mean, but at the end of the day, a lot of it is just getting okay with being in the muck.
Yeah.
Being in the mud.
And I love a tangible because my brain's like, oh, there's totally. Getting out of the muck, and you did the right thing.
Totally.
1,000% love the way you framed it. And here's my Nicki, pass me the baton. Let your daughter see you do one small thing a day that makes you happy. That's what got me through this. It was, I would get excited about when my latte was made perfectly. And I'd be like, this is a good one. And my kids would see me put the volume up to a song that I love and sing with the sunroof open. And I think it's like, those are the little things that for some people, they might need that reminder. I didn't. And now people are looking to me and my page to remind them. So I feel like with what you said and then me saying, here's a little Nicki, here's a little bit of Nicki.
Just do your best today. Just
Yeah.
It makes you present. Don't worry about tomorrow. Sometimes all you got in the tank is today. Just do today.
Yeah.
Do right now.
And something tells me if she's worried and following the right type of pages and not comparing herself to other people online who've got it all, you know, the husband, the perfect porch, the perfectly dressed kids, the stuff you dreamt of from the Disney movies, changed the story.
Change story.
Change the story.
And if you want some motivation, everybody loves a comeback story. I mean, so be that for your daughter.
Yeah.
Be that for your friend.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm happy she reached out.
I was always had this belief in myself that I had to be like the best supporting actress in my life, right? Like the best supporting character, never the main character. And that's what the divorce has given me, is this ability to step into my main character energy. I don't know if you've experienced anything like that. Do you sometimes feel like, oh my gosh, this is my story. This is my book. What the hell have I been holding back for?
Yeah. I often say this is what I'm built for. I had to go through this because my children, the world, the people that I serve, they want the version of me that gets through this. And so that always helps pull me through. It's so interesting, though, too. You use the word divorce. I rarely use that word. I use uncoupling.
You do, and I'm like,
I use uncoupling all the time because
so proper.
It's more the energy behind it. I mean, we were a couple, and now we're not coupled anymore, and we're just not together, and it changes the frame for me.
Uncoupling.
It really does. Like
I love that for you. I don't think I'm going to do that.
You don't have to.
I think I'm going to use the big D word. Big D.
But I think it's funny too how we wear this badge. I'm divorced. I'm a divorced woman. I'm a divorced man. Well,
a single mom who works 2 jobs, who loves the kids and never stops, with gentle hands in the heart of a fighter. Love that song, Reba.
It's well done. I want to know what have you not said to the single moms or the single dads that you've been hiding?
I feel like I've said a lot. I've had these snippets of like, wow, it's the story. It's like the hardest thing is to untell the story that I told myself my whole life that my adulthood was going to be. That's the hardest part, is pulling that Band-Aid off of like all the things I thought my life was supposed to be and looking in the mirror and going, holy shit, it's nothing like that, and being okay with it. So I think humor and my audience, and like the reason I'm talking about divorce on here is in an early episode is because divorce is why I landed into content. It's why I'm literally here raising my kids full time, not missing a thing. And I've been able to build my own career out of this. It would have never happened. Old me, it would have never happened. Because old me was worried about, well, what if one of my clients sees me acting silly? They're not going to trust me with their brand. And what if I want to,
so
even after divorce, who is going to want to date me ever when I act like this? And now I don't care because I am, did I even answer? I just went off course.
Yeah. I've seen you on your journey.
Yeah.
So there's 3 things that I've seen you answer or get over. Can I share with the audience?
Yes.
So there were 3 points, I think, that really a new freedom and a new level of Nicki came out. 1, you knew your kids were going to be okay. I think you wondered about that for a real long time. You knew your kids were going to be okay. You knew you were going to be okay. I remember a lot of conversations. You just didn't know if you were going to be all right. And then the 3rd one was you let go of the plan. You let go of the next 10 years. And you said, I'm going to build the next month. I'm going to build the next 3 months at most. And I'm just going to show up full me, knowing I'm all right, my kids are all right, and I'm going to bring all of me.
The Diane Keaton era, Vin. Right?
That's it.
I don't need to know the answer for tomorrow.
And those three things, I mean, look, I work with a lot of women, and those first two are the ones that they always have to get okay with. I need to know my kids are going to be all right, and I'm going to be all right. And the minute they can get on the other side of that, whole world opens up. And then when you started to say, look, I'm not going to try to write the script. I'm not going to try to predict. I'm not going to hold on to this old story. I'm just going to show up full Nicki, full me with what I've got. Then the world started responding. Then you started to step into your power. It's been beautiful to watch.
Yeah. And it's become really interesting how much I'm okay being alone. And someone asked me, how does it feel when you're traveling and you see other couples and with their kids? Because now I think I've become a little more known, where Disney was my first thing. So Disney was my first, I am going to rock this thing. I was scared shitless to travel the first time with my kids alone. And I think that would be my advice to people going through this. I know there are some single parents that they haven't yet done the trip by themselves because they're scared. Once you do that first trip, you are going to book your second.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
And I'm not talking just Disney. I'm just saying you're so empowered when you realize I can do this, and I'm also making core memories that me and my kids are never going to. Disney's as much for me as it is for them, if not more. So now that's become my thing, and I look forward to it all year. And I book it and I plan it. And I'm saying to other people, it doesn't have to be Disney, but there's got to be something that you set as your mountain top.
Yeah, yes. And I think in that moment you said, I can do this, but you said my kids can do this too.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're the ones that lead the way.
We're going to have to team up. You're going to have to push your luggage. We're going to have to do this.
And so where do we hold back our kids by saying, I don't know if I can do this, but you know what? Sometimes they're the one that pulls us.
You're the coach. You're the head coach of your family.
Yeah.
So when I'm feeling like I'm not in my head coach power, I have to remember that. My sports background, I have to be the Bill Belichick. What up, Bill? Of the family. You got to run the play. You got to let them know you're good. You got to let them know the game's still on. So.
Trust your players.
Yes.
And trust your players.
Yes. Trust your players.
You get a lot of dads reaching out to you?
Not a lot. And the ones who do, I'm always like, I trust you as a man. Because for you to take my content and be open-minded to it tells me a lot about a person. And especially if they're following for Parenthood.
100%.
There's the silly stuff that you could follow for. If you're Ian over there. Ian, someday you'll be asking me, maybe, dad advice. But right now, he's in it for the Duncan. But the men who come in and say,
really? Because he was already asking me for advice when I walked in, so maybe you're not in the know.
A single mom who works 2 jobs. No, the kid never stops. All right, hold on. I'm going to peek at this.
Do it. What we got?
I almost feel like we...
Do it. That's what we do all the time.
We're at like 40 minutes.
Okay. There's going to be a lot that you cut out.
Welcome to Matt and Nicki.
But no, we're not going to go long. But there's a lot. I feel like we got in a flow. We had like a few good moments. And then there was like a chunk that I would just... Okay. Ooh.
Do it.
What's the best way to support loved ones who become single parents?
What do you got?
Bake the cookies. Deliver them the cookies, even if they say they don't need anything. I think for me, that's my metaphor is the cookies. Because I'm going to say I don't need anything.
I guess.
But if someone makes me cookies or makes me feel seen and heard and supported, that opens up a door for me to really know when I do need them, they meant what they said. They're there.
That's fair. My answer is show up. Show up. Sit on the couch. Guys are a little different, but just be in the presence. Kill the alone time. Just force your way in. Sit on the couch. Watch the game. Go for the walk, but show up without the invitation.
Love it. Next. And what's your best co-parenting advice? Like, what's the best practice of being a good co-parent?
Never speak negatively about the other. Support them fully. And do your own work to work through your resentment, your anger, and all this stuff. And just don't bring it in. Don't bring it into the kids. Don't bring it into him or her. Just do your own work. Because at the end of the day, it's freeing you, and you'll be a better version of you. But yeah, do the work.
Yeah. And my advice on that is to communicate your values and your rules, not only to, your ex, but to the family around you.
Yes.
There will be no bashing. Like, your parents want to support you, and they're protective of you. So, but that's something that I was very clear on with my own family members is we're moving forward. We're moving forward. This is their dad. I am their mom. This is going to forever be their nuclear family. Let's just do our best to keep going forward. And it's not perfect.
No.
It's not perfect.
But
we are the generation who's working on the emotional IQ stuff and working on what's important to us and saying it out loud. It's important for me that we could all be in the same soccer team, at the same soccer field or at the same birthday party and be there to support the kids and not be, oh, this is awkward. No, shh. It's not awkward for anyone unless you make it awkward. Just focus on the kids.
It's awkward for them. It's always awkward.
It's not. It's awkward for me. But I'm not making it awkward for me because I'm moving forward in my life. I'm moving forward, and I know the kids see that. And I don't have time for all the other stuff anymore. That's where I've gotten to.
Yeah, you can't worry about other people. I get a lot of questions from family members about my ex-wife as if we're still together. What are they up to? Or what are they thinking? Or what are they traveling? And these are all things that I no longer have interest in or have the information to. And it's kind of a funny one.
Yeah. Yep. All right. One more question.
What do we got?
If there's anything you could change about yourself in your marriage or in co-parenting, what would it be?
Go back with the knowledge I have.
That's a good one. Go back with the knowledge. Would you do it differently?
I would.
Yeah.
I absolutely would. And I'm attempting to now. It's a different game, but yeah, I absolutely would, of course.
What would I do differently? It would be, I would give up some control. I can't believe I'm admitting this. And I remember looking back at how overwhelmed I would get with bedtime because my kids are 20 months apart. So I'd be putting one down and the other, doing the baths. And I would be so upset that why isn't he doing this? Why isn't he doing this? Why am I up here every night? But the only part that I could take accountability for is maybe, just maybe, if he was up there, I wasn't liking the way he was doing it. It was a half-ass way. So I would, if I did it all over again, I would say, you know what? You do bath time tonight. I'm gonna stay down here. And I would give myself some opportunity to do less. Because I was resenting doing more and more and more. And I got to work on that. Maybe that's our next phone call.
I love that.
I just am always, it makes me feel like I'm important when I'm doing more. I'm always doing it. And then I'm pissed off that I'm always doing it, but I don't know how to, you get what I mean?
I do.
So
it reminded me of one, and I'm curious, what's the thing you're constantly telling yourself? Because I need to constantly remind myself they're going to be okay. And if I could do it all over again, I would have had that as a mantra from the beginning. They're going to be okay. If it's not done my way, if it's not done perfectly, they're going to be okay. And I'm constantly telling myself that.
Yeah. I mean, so what's your question for me?
So my question, what is the thing that you're constantly reminding yourself of in your parenting role?
That I am giving myself too much credit and pressure on who they are as humans. They are who they are. My job is to keep them, and I tell them this, if they want more screen time or they want more junk food, or they want to ride their crazy carts in the middle of the road without a helmet on, I try to pick my battles and say, my job is to protect you, keep you safe, and keep you loved. And like, if we can let go of all the other stuff, right? They're gonna be who they are. So push them forward. Let them see who they are. Push them to see their talents. And I don't know. I think that's just, we're a little too, we think we're in charge of the whole entire forever and who they're going to become. Like, just remember it's a foundation, and then they will be who they are. Does that make sense?
Makes complete sense.
Right.
There's a great book. I think it's called Conscious Parenting, or The Conscious Parent, by Dr. Shafale. And her big thing is our kids are here to teach us more than we're to teach them.
Yes. Yes.
So I got one more for you. So you had a coach.
Yep.
You had somebody walking alongside you that you had access to remind you that you're going to be okay, that, help give you some tools to navigate some of the emotions, some of the minefields. You
as the coach.
Correct.
So everyone's clear.
If somebody doesn't have a coach, doesn't have that person, what do you want to tell them? I'll answer this too, but I'm curious what you got.
I will tell you that 9 out of 10 times you're in your own way. It's something that you perceive to be true. And you would say to me, well, what if it went exactly how you wanted it to? Instead of, what about this and what about that? And what if it just worked out exactly the way you wanted it to? So I would challenge people to ask themselves that. I would also give what I did early on with you, which was like the Post-it note thing. I still always love talking about that because it's a tangible, is put a Post-it note above every door in your house that you're going to walk into, you're going to walk out of, and it's got your 3 main values. If you could just remember that everything else falls under those values, it helps to answer a lot of the what ifs.
It's a lot easier to live intentionally and show up intentionally.
Yeah.
Yeah. My answer would be just ask yourself, how did I do this? How did I get here? Just so you have a roadmap of how you created this and you can feel empowered. And if you created this, you can create something different. And so as long as you know how you got here, you can know how to get out.
All right. That's a wrap. So Uncoupling with Matt Chavlovich. Where else can we find you?
My website, mattchavlovich.com. Go to Instagram, Facebook.
All right. That's it. Love you.
Love you too.